Hi, everybody. Hope you're doing well. So, today I'm here to talk a little bit about book clubs. I was given this suggestion by Brown Girl Reading just to talk about how my book club operates. So, rare gems, don't worry, I'm not spilling our most intimate tea. What I am going to talk about today is some of the tools and methods that we implemented to help make our club more effective and efficient in hopes that we can help someone else. So don't worry, I'm not telling all of our business, but I am going to use some of the things that we've changed as examples that could possibly help other clubs. So to tell you a little bit about the club, first of all, let me tell you how I ended up in the club. I was at work at a pop-up book sale and I was just, browsing, and a lady came around the corner and she looked at me and she said, "Hi." I said, "Hi." And she said, "Oh, are you a reader?" And I said, "Yeah." She said, "What do you like to read?" And I told her. And then she said, "You know what? I'm in a book club. We're having a meeting Sunday at 4 o'clock." And she pulled my badge. She said, "What's your name?" She said, "Karen." "Okay, Karen, when I get back to my desk, I'm going to email you all the information. See you Sunday." And she walked away. And I was like, what just happened? I fretted about it all week, but Sunday came and I went to the club. I kind of sat there, introverted me, looking at these women, and they were so nice and so kind. They welcomed me with open arms, very hospitable. And when they started talking about the book, I was like, wow, they're so intelligent and insightful and discerning with their answers, and they actually read the book. I loved it. And I just remember sitting there feeling like, this is home. This is home. And I've been with them ever since. That was back in 2009. And I love my club. I love the Rare Gems. We are a sisterhood. And I'm so glad to be a part of the club. We are 9 women, all African American, all college educated, all over a particular age. Some are married, some are single, some have kids, some have pets, and we are a closed club. We put the lock on the door and not allowing anyone else in. If we did let anyone else in, it would probably just be the last person who left. We'd probably unlock the door, snatch her in, lock the door back. We are just very happy and comfortable with those of us who are in the club right now. And the last thing we would want would be for someone to come in and disrupt what we have. Okay. We don't have any official offices in the club. We do have an unofficial leader. She may not think she's our leader, but we do. We do have people who mind our money because we do take up dues. And we have people who keep notes during our business meetings to keep us on track. As far as location and hostess and food goes, our hostess is the one who will provide the food for our book club meeting, and we have the meeting at the hostess's home. We can have the meeting anywhere we want, but we don't really do restaurants. We don't really do potlucks. We primarily go to each other's homes, and the hostess for that day makes sure that we have a good meal, basically. We have a facilitator also. Now, our hostess and our facilitator are two different people. The hostess is the one that provides the location and the food. The facilitator is the one that actually chooses the book that we're reading. They provide the discussion questions for the meeting. So we make sure to have we tried to do it as one person, but it didn't work out that way. It's much better to have a facilitator and a hostess in different roles at your meetings. We don't allow guests to come to our meetings either. So if you're out riding around and your cousin's in the car with you and you realize it's time for book club, you have to take your cousin home. Or your cousin can drop you off and come back and get you, but your cousin can't come and linger at our meeting. We don't allow stragglers. The only time we allow people into our meetings is if we have set up a pre-arranged event with another book club, or we have specifically said, like for example, for Black History Month, for our read, you're allowed to bring a +1, something like that. But we don't allow guests in our meetings. It's just the club members who are invited. One of the things that we did to really help improve our book club meetings and our club in general was instituting a survey that we completed at the end of every meeting. If you wanted to complete the survey, you did. If you didn't have to. You could do it anonymously or you could put your name on it. But having a survey really helps you to gauge how well your book club is doing. Are you doing well in terms of the meals that are being prepared? Are you doing well in terms of the books that we're choosing? Or how is the actual cadence of the meeting going? You can put all of that information in a survey. We would take our responses, give it to one person who would read all of the survey results and then report back to us the information that came from those surveys. And it really did help with especially time management. So if we said book club starts at 4 o'clock, for time sensitive people, that means you walk in the door prior to 4 o'clock, and at 4 o'clock we sit down and start talking about the book. But for other people, 4 o'clock meant, oh, that's when we start getting together, we eat our appetizers, we talk, and then eventually we'll get to the book. So one of the suggestions that I made based on hearing the survey results was to say, why don't we build in social time into our agenda from, let's say, 4 to 4:30? That is the time we start to gather. That is the time we can eat appetizers. That's when we get to socialize and catch up with one another. That gives the hostess a little bit more time to prepare the food because she probably went to church Sunday morning and, had other things to do, before the meeting started. And if we say the meeting actually starts or the discussion starts about 4:30, that might make more sense. Also, some people work on Sundays and they couldn't get there right at 4. So this has turned out to work well for us because everybody knows that for the first 20 or 30 minutes or so, we're just getting ourselves together. But about 4:30, we sit down and actually begin our discussion. And that's because we also instituted a timekeeper, which is very important to have. So depending on how long you want your meeting to run, you should have a timekeeper that's going to say, okay, let's get started. Or in the middle of the meeting, okay, we have so many more questions before we run out of time. So having that survey really helped us in terms of making the actual meeting more efficient. Also, the survey results let us know that some people were not happy with the books that were being chosen, and they felt that some of the books didn't meet a certain standard. And so we've eliminated certain types of books from our discussions. For example, we no longer read urban fiction. We read more literary fiction than anything. We do read some contemporary and some autobiographies and biographies. But for the most part, we read literary fiction in the club. We sneak those contemporary books in there every once in a while, though. How do we decide our books? So this part is where it's going to get kind of lengthy, so just stay with me. And I hope I don't confuse you with explaining how we've gone through iterations of choosing books. So the very first method when I first joined the club was that the person who was hosting chose the book. That was the way we did it in the beginning, but again, the survey let us know some people weren't happy with the books that were being chosen. And so we developed a different method. We developed a ranking system for our books. So at that time, I think we had maybe 10 people in the club, 10 or 11 people. Let's say 10. So we had a form with 3 slots on it for you to write book suggestions. And we would rank, each person had that form, so each person would put in 3 books for suggestions. And on the form, you could rank each book either 3, I really want to read this book, 2, it would be okay if we read this book, or 1, I don't really want to read this book. So each of us, all 10 of us, completed the forms. We turned it into one person who tallied all the results in a spreadsheet. And based on the rankings, we would read the top 10 books that were chosen. That was a great way to see the books that people were really interested in reading, but on the other hand, it wasn't exactly fair. So you think about it, 10 books, 3 suggestions each, that's 30 books. That meant there were 20 books left lingering out there, which means that some people's books were never chosen because they always fell in the lowest percentile. So we decided to do it a different way. We said we'll still do the ranking system, but we'll do it per person. So let's say I suggested 3 books. I suggested Sugar, Americana, and Here Comes the Sun. Okay? So my book club members would rank those 3 books, 3, 2, 1. We tally up the results, and the book that got the highest ratings would be the one that we would read. Okay? And that made it more fair because at least each person had a book that was read that year. Okay? But then we discovered another issue, that we weren't always getting the forms turned in by the deadline. And so it was, it was hard to tally up the results and all of that. So we decided to go back to, I said, can we go back to the facilitator choosing the book? And now that's what we're back to. And I like it a lot better. It's just so much easier. The person just says, this is the book that I've chosen. And you have like a backup or 2 in case somebody else has chosen the same books. You know what I mean? And also because we've been together long enough now and we really know each other and can fill each other out on books we think the club might like, we are now reading more books that, put it this way, everybody's not going to like every book, but we are reading books of a certain quality, we feel now, that kind of meets the standard we have set for ourselves. And I think everybody's happy with the way that we do it now. Okay? So, that was a long way to go back around and say the facilitator picks the book. But I wanted you to hear that history and how things changed over the years for us. We do have joint meetings with other book clubs at times. Those meetings are always very interesting and fun because we get to see how other people discuss books and what other people think about the books aside from, just the 9 of us. We have Christmas parties every year. We get together and exchange gifts. We usually go to a restaurant. One year we went to a bookstore and we had a scavenger hunt. And it was really fun. I enjoyed that. We also have a rule, what happens at book club stays at book club. And I think that is a very important rule to have, especially if you are a small, intimate club and you're like family, you're like sisters. That's why I opened this video by saying I'm not spilling our tea, but I think some of the things we put into place could really help other clubs. I do. So that's why I wanted to share that with you. We have talked about, the evolution of the club. Like we wanted to take a trip together, for example, but we never got around to it. And then now COVID has happened. We do have bags and t-shirts, sweatshirts with our name, Rare Gems, written on them. So we do have those type of things. So I just really enjoy our club. I really like it. And we've read some really good books. We've read a lot of books I personally never would have picked up on my own at the bookstore or at the library because before I joined them, was so stuck in a contemporary fiction rut or a mystery thriller rut. I was reading the same authors over and over and over. And if they hadn't put out a new book, then I was reading mainly mysteries and thrillers, that type of thing. But the literary fiction genre has really broadened my horizons in the types of books that I like to read. Don't get me wrong, I did have a lot of literary fiction in the house, but it just wasn't my favorite. I was going for, like I said, the same old authors every time. And now I read a lot of different authors thanks to Book Club and thanks to BookTube. So that's information about my book club and a little bit about how we operate. If you have any questions for me about my book club, let me know down in the comments below. If you have any tips that we might be able to use, please by all means share them. I actually am going to share a very short series on book clubs here on the channel, so look forward to those videos, coming up very soon. Have a great day, everybody, and until next time, keep reading. Take care. Bye-bye.